into the map here. Again, starting off on Ilios, we can already see once again that Hanzo and Pharah composition coming together for both of these teams. And as expected, I would have to say the Orisa Roadhog for both of them as well. So pretty much just a straight up mirror.
And we'll see who can come out on top to start things off, especially with that hold coming into play. They really quite catch anyone from the side of Singularity. Now looking to get potential positional advantage themselves. Bois is going to be dropping pretty low, but overall, still nobody going down just yet as the point will be unlocked. Nerf will be the first one to fall, and as a result, it is going to be Birb Boys getting the advantage and potentially that first point cap.
Oh, they have such a good position on their Hanzo right now. He's under duress a little bit, but he's still going to be able to put out some damage onto Fall and find that kill. That should help them solidify this. Nerf is unflinching, unwavering, until finally Addy finds him with an arrow to the skull, finding that kill and the point along with it. 5% now as that climbs forward. It's going to be very tough now for Singularity to try to take this one away from them, given that, you know, they both have those Orisas in play.
And look at the ultimate advantages as well. Not only is Dragon Strike at the ready, Mitcher with that ultimate important Valkyrie will be looking hot going into the upcoming team fight. And depending on how things will develop, of course, that might not even be needed, especially with Baneless grabbing that first kill of the fight.
The Nanra gonna try to get some hooks into the well if he can even get around this corner, but it's gonna be Massey in the sky putting hurt into Obling, taking him out, and it's gonna be, I mean, Fall finally coming back into this one, making a name for himself on this Pharah, now going to the skies, trying to take some damage into Massey, finds the kill as well. Fall almost alone here, will be able to help his team get this flip finally. 48% for Birb Boys before they get it, but what a performance from the Pharah there for Singularity.
Singularity finally coming alive here on Ilios, and it's off of the back of Fall's Pharah play right now. Having that Transcendence being built up alongside the rest of the ultimates are going to be looking good for Singularity, but on the other side, a lot is at the ready here for Birb Boys, looking to claim that point back in their favor, as Malphite is going to be instantly deleted. It's a 2-for-1 though, as Fall still gets the best out of his opposing Pharah, and now with the Resurrect coming back in, we'll see Team Singularity still holding out strong.
Fall is seemingly uncontested. Finally gets taken down a little bit lower there, but gets away for now, as the Zenyatta is really the only person able to get some damage onto him at all. They're still holding on here. What7 taking some pressure, doesn't yet have his shield, but he does manage to get some healing as he falls back. Massey in the sky is so low, finally gets some support as well, but with them swapping, with everybody going under duress, it's tough for these healers, especially Mitcher in this sense, to be able to keep up with all the damage that's coming out from both Obling and Fall. Finally, a potential moment where they can catch up, but with Obling still firing away like this, it's just not going to happen, it seems.
And the big problem is that the Dragon Strike's going to be unleashed. Two finds one in Mitcher, splits the opposition on top of it. What7 somehow alive with like 1 HP there, most likely, will be able to disengage, but the big problem now for the side of Birb Boys is the fact that they are up against 81% already on that point for Singularity.
You see Dragon Strike ready. He's going to throw it right in. Great spot to throw it. They're going to throw everybody off to the side as well. Mercy's going to be stuck in that back corner. They have the vision, and Fall is taken out. So what has been the MVP for this team is out of the equation, and they're all stacked up. Massey should be able to find these kills, and it looks like he will.
And will it be enough, considering the fact that they, at the very least, push the opposition away from the point, get it flipped back into their favor? We'll see that indeed be the case. Baneless getting an interesting decent. I've never seen that icon go for with a Zenyatta, but nevertheless, a lot of ultimates should still be good to go for Singularity, and as a result, it is looking like it will be their team fight to lose, and potentially this first round that they will get a win on.
Lind will have that Transcendence. I'm interested to see if they want to engage with that or just kind of wait things out for Addy to drop that Dragon Strike. But he's going to be taken out almost immediately. Foul is taken down in return, but obviously a back and forth brawl already occurring, and this will decide who takes the first map.
And now with the Self-Destruct also being used, Dragon Strike coming out of play. It is going to be Adi though in the meantime taking out Obling, unleashing the Dragon himself as the point gets swapped back in favor of Adi on fire on this Hanzo. But can he close this one out and swap it back in? Fall coming back from spawn will be sniped by Massey up in the sky with a direct on top. Wolfing desuited, and it seems like it's still back and forth as both teams will be trickling back in from that respawn. Obling on that Tracer now takes out the Pharah.
Still, control seems to be in favor of the blue side, but now they're getting backed off. They have respawns coming in, and they have lost control of the point in the meantime as well. But as they re-enter, they do get that all-important first pick, an opening for them. They're starting to get control once again. Addy on that Sombra getting taken down pretty low, going for Fall, takes him right out of the sky, and they get the kill follow-up. Molf will be next, it seems like, as he loses his mech. Mono goes down, and that will be Birb Boys clutching this one out.
It's not over just yet. We do see the side of Singularity is trying to fight back Nerf with the Prime, or he's going to stay alive, but the question is it long enough? As overtime is going to tick out, but he's managed to get back in with the help of that Sombra. Now Fall actually even getting a kill himself as he did dash back in. Obling, this is still not over just yet. Singularity somehow still looking to make something happen as they will return fire. They will get a return kill onto Massey, but Bird Boys are not down and out just yet. They have that sound barrier built up, and as a result, it's still an all-out brawl.
We saw the Pulse Bomb eaten up as well as we see Obling somehow slip away from this fight. Nerfed will get dropped. Overtime ticks. They're still in the vicinity, but they let it go. Bird Boys with the first point on the scoreboard. And they'll take that first map moving forward here. I am absolutely loving today. Yesterday, we saw some good matches. They ended up 3-0, sure, but it has been excellent. So far throughout this tournament, but today I think really kind of stepped it up a notch. Having these teams be so close to each other, so competitive, these matches have been just, I think a step above.
Most definitely, and I really like these different adaptations as well. Having the Sombra, once you see her hack the Pharah out of the sky, this time around, it's just lights out for them because they get that easy kill. They get the point back in their favor at the very end, and once they got control of it, it was just really difficult for Singularity to make anything happen.
And I really like the Sombra, even in this, current patch, the way things have shaped and everything like that. I think that there's room for Sombra to really kind of shine once again. We talked about a couple of patches ago how actually during Pit last season, it was when the Sombra patch actually kind of slipped through initially and then went live afterward. That, how oppressive that character could potentially be. We didn't see as much of it as we thought we would, and certainly was talked about in the pro circuit, in the pro scene, initially when they talked about how those changes were going to be implemented. But now I think there might be a way for her to kind of sneak her way back in. Yeah, you can put some pressure onto the Pharah, but I think primarily, utilizing the EMPs, taking some damage to the forefront, that front line, putting some pressure onto Reinhardt's, taking barriers out of the equation, slowing them down. We already talked about things like Mei as well. So there's a lot of different unique things that teams could do in this current meta that has, some slight answers to certain things that we see as, prominent or fairly strong right now.
And look at these compositions right now for both of these teams. It seems like Singularity are going to stick to that Widowmaker for Obling, but the rest of it, it's pretty much mirrored. Looking at a free composition for Bird Boys, looking to ball it out on top of the point, and it's gonna come down to whether or not Obling can find those squishy targets, and considering the positioning right now, that's gonna be pretty difficult. Still looking for an angle off of the high ground. At the very least though, if he does manage to get anything done, especially with the help of Nerf, it will be very difficult for Bird Boys to contest him.
Obling just taking free fire shots right now from up top. Easy angles for him as they come through one simple pathway, not really dynamic in their approach just yet, but here as they go for a second round, they're gonna go dive right in. Look at that Earth Shatter.
They didn't expect it to already be charged up, but you bet yourself that Nerf will have it available, and you will have a quad kill for himself. Make that a team kill in the end. Nerf cleaning up house for his team, and with 50% already towards the next Earth Shatter, it's looking potentially grim for Birb Boys, but they will have the Graviton.
Oh, well, they have vision too, and this is important because they have great positioning here. We've seen this time and time again. This time they get spotted, but Coalescence should be able to back them up. Should it be required? Nerf already found the first kill onto Massey. Coalescence already coming out from Veinless, answered after the Graviton comes in, and Singularity still taking this fight despite the Graviton.
And it's just such an oppressive style coming out of Singularity, just making sure their opponents are not allowed to do anything at this point. And the big problem for Bird Boys is, as said, they used the Graviton, they committed all of those different ultimates and got nothing for it.
And again, Obling up top. They just don't have anything to really deal with him when he gets vertical like this. And as they come through, it's going to be up to What7 to make sure that they're protected, as well as Addy and even Bananra. And look at this aggression again from Singularity. They're going to actually deny Obling a little bit, but he's going to go around the corner and take a different angle. Look at this, self-destruct's coming out from both sides. Soundbayer still out for Mono, but that's going to go down. Singularity looking for potentially another angle, but they're just going to go right in. Earthshatter ready for Nerf. Is he going to find it again? No, he's going to get pinned.
And as a result, he's going to be jumping really low. Finally, Bird Boys might make something happen as What7 gets that kill, gets a double for himself. It's all about the Reinhardt in this matchup, it seems like, as eventually Bird Boys took a while. Now we're in the overtime. They need to keep holding on strong to this point.
Bird Boys with the flip at 99%. I mean, how do you take this still, knowing what you know about Nerf and his ability to get these Earth Shatters, have high impact, high value with those ultimates? We see Lind holding onto that Coalescence. It's going to be very difficult, but they're going to get aggressive just like their opponents. Earth Shatter comes down.
But is it going to be enough? Not quite as
oh!
It is to charge the returner Shatter. Lays 3 of them flat, but still nobody going down with the help of the Coalescence is going to be What7 still fighting Mono in there. Graviton is going to go through, and this should be Bird Boys winning it out, but it's not going to happen just yet. Nerf getting a kill onto What7 could be potentially what they needed, especially with the help of that armor back of the rally. Obling gets Adi, and this is looking very grim now for Bird Boys.
They're going to be losing the point here and losing most of their roster to the respawn as overtime is ticking. What7 there. Oh, eaten up. The Graviton from Obling not going to find anything. Vinandra trying to stay alive right now as he's going to go out. Overtime ticks. Can anybody make it back in time to get any more time off? And that's not going to be the case. Things are tied up here on map number 1 on Ilios, and it is a back again. I love this so much. I'm so excited about this because, again, like we said a couple times already, we saw 3-0s happening yesterday. Yes, they were good matches, but these are a level ahead, a step above. This is fantastic Overwatch that we're getting to witness here and talk about. Bird Boys versus Singularity, nerfed. What7, these guys are insane. We've already seen some pop-off moments from Obling as well on the Widow, and I'm curious to see what kind of comps we're going to get on this because already we see a lot of tank play between these two teams, certainly more so than the last matchup, and it seems like that's going to continue.
Not even a Widowmaker or Hanzo or even potentially a Pharah for either of these teams, so they're just going to go ahead, continue to brawl it out on that objective. It's going to come down to those small details, those small things to see who will get that first advantage of this team fight. It seems like Nerf off another beautiful charge, but What7 answers.
And they're going back and forth. What7 getting the upper hand now as they have the numbers advantage. Lind dishing out a ton of healing, but it's not going to be enough as they're forced back. He's going to die off as well. And Bird Boys taking this first cap with a little bit of flair at that. What7 on the Reinhardt popping off a little bit.
And I love these Reinhardt battles, the mind games that can come through. Does he have Air Shatter? Can he pull through? Will I get that shield up in time? These are some of those questions, but What7 already at 92% will look to recreate Nerf's success potentially. Previously has kept another charge onto the Lucio. Never lucky, but the Air Shatter was used. Nerf still able to find a much better result as the team will clean up those kills, and off of it, they will manage to secure a triple for Lind and the point in their favor.
I don't know about that coalescence that came out at the end. I'm not sure if that was entirely necessary. I think Nerfed already did pretty much everything they needed for that fight. Completely, you know, you were just talking about the mind games between Reinhardt versus Reinhardt. That's exactly what we saw. Nerf had his shield down for a little bit, was just waiting to hear that audio cue. What7 started to drop it, and Nerf completely blocked it out.
And we'll see now whether or not they can still get a
another
hold
pin!
Ooh, even with the pin though, no kills here just yet, but as I say that, never mind, it's a 1-for-1 trade, but even more as the boobs are there, both from the Lucius, where's the Brigitte, and now we will see Mitcher claim another alongside Massey, as it will be a point back to Birb Bois, and it's again, what a beautiful back and forth here. It's
the waters of Ilios claiming yet another soul, and another, and another, and another. As we see those environmental kills stack up in that last fight, now things have swapped over. Birb Bois once again out ahead ever so slightly with a lot of control ults online already. And Addy starting things off. Graviton coming out. Obling just going to drop right in. They've already got kills though.
So many, double kill for Mitcher. The elusive Lucio for them. Whereas on the other side, unfortunately for Mono, he wants to get pinned to start it off. But with this team kill, things are going to be still looking on the up and up for Birb Bois, but at the very least, moving forward, we will see Singularity have pretty much all of their ultimates good to go soon enough.
Rally ready for fall, likely to engage with this, and that actually is going to be an Earthshatter coming out. Mono dropped onto the ground. Obling going to drop the Graviton Surge. They're looking to answer back from the last combo that happened to them.
We'll see whether or not they win this team fight, because it's already at 82%. They need to make quick hits if they are to swap it back into their favor and get a little bit of a safety or a little more leeway when it comes to the rest of the round, as they will indeed get the kill onto Mitcher as well. And again, very nicely done to make sure they don't overcommit with their ultimates. They still have the Sound Bear, Earthshatter, as well as Coalescence.
50%. They need to hang on. They have Nerfed once again ready with that Earthshatter. Looking forward to that one. Coalescence online on both sides. I don't know. Singularity looking for it. Oh, it's going to be, I think, mostly blocked off. It was just Venanro that got hit by that. He's going to lose his mech, but Lin keeping things together with the Coalescence.
And still looking to push through. They still didn't come in for the Sound Bear. Waited out the Graviton. Very nicely done. And as a result, the Earthshatter will come through. Massey is on the ground and out of the fight. And still, Singularity winning out. And with 77% on the point, this is going to come down to one more team fight to decide the winner of Ilios.
That was the second Earthshatter in one fight that allowed Nerf to be able to turn that fight around for them. 88% off the back of that. They might have a shot here. They have to stop the attack from Birb Bois, who want to get over to the point. They're pushing right in. Earthshatter ready. He actually catches Nerf, but there it is. What7 drained. He's going to be lasered down. Mono with another environmental kill, as well as Nerf is just going to go forward, gets into the front line once again, and that will be that. Singularity should be the winners of the first map here.
But such an interesting back and forth, as Lin is going to claim that final kill onto the Tracer, and it will indeed be Singularity with another nail-biting match to start things off. Close Ilios 2-1 win.
And Birb Bois so close to be able to take that one too, but you got to give credit to Nerf here getting the play of the game. You know, throughout this series, we were talking about him because he was performing so well on this. Look at that! Oh. Look at that mind games. He's just completely blocking out the opponents. Earthshatter gets one of his own. Great, flashy stuff that you don't see often from Reinhardt, but he's going to get a little bit of that action himself.
And the big thing now is that moving forward to Eichenwald, this is another one of those maps where the heroes like Reinhardt would potentially come big into play for either of these teams. So it's going to be another interesting one. You definitely don't want to miss out. Stay tuned. back once again. My name is Bruce, joined by Hurix. We are moving on to the second map of the last series between Singularity and Birb Boys. Moving on to Eichenwald, and already what a start, and as you said, what a day so far.
Yeah, this is, such exciting Overwatch to be able to spectate and be able to commentate for you guys. We're moving on to Eichenwald, like you just said, and this is where I think I'm very interested in seeing where this goes personally, because as we already talked about, this is a different potential look that we can, get out of this. As we know, Eichenwald has a little bit of a different dynamic than Ilios on certain stages of this map. A lot of high ground control comes into that second stage, of course, and into that first point is a little interesting, especially for EU side. They played a little bit different than what I'm used to seeing over in NA. You even see a lot of defensive Pharahs. There's a lot of different looks that we can get in that department, but I'm interested in seeing. Again, as always, our team's going to be running the tank. Are they going to be running the dive, the double sniper with the dive, or a single sniper with tank? There's so many different things that they could run that are all quite similar, but add a different flavor to that dynamic that I think is very, very pivotal, very important about the way that they execute their strategy.
And with the heavy emphasis, especially in this current meta, on those tanks and the likes of those Reinhardts, we've seen how important that matchup between Watt 7 and Nerfed was on Ilios. Yeah. So that could definitely be, again, the big factor to look out for here.
Yeah, Nerfed got the better end of the deal, I would say, so far in that matchup on Ilios especially. We saw a couple flashy plays, one of them being the play of the game of that last map. That could continue here. It could be a situation where we see a lot more Reinhardt play. We saw it on our first game between Samsung, Morningstar's Blue and Northern Lights, where, that 3-0-3, having the Reinhardt making big plays, being aggressive, it was very centric to their win, I would have to say. Northern Lights moving through to take on Eagle Gaming later. So as we move into this map here, I'm very curious to see, are we going to be getting that same tank style? Are we going to be getting Pharahs? And it looks like we're going to get both.
That's very interesting, but no Pharah on the defensive side. Instead, they are going for the 3-0-3 composition, whereas on offense, they will actually be swapping back to
that's 3-0-3 themselves.
And Brawl, it seems like smashing in onto towards this first choke point. Massey already getting the best out of Nerf to start things off. First blood in favor of Birb Boys, but Lind answers.
They did lose Massey, though, and it's going to take some time for him to come back, and it's going to be much quicker for the offense. Singularity have a big opportunity to potentially move in here 6v5, get Nerfed into position, and put some damage right off the bat into these guys as What 7 is taken down.
Oh man, he tried to go for a Nerf Shatter potentially, but Malphite got the best of him, and as a result, they will see the rest of their team collapse on top of that objective. Nerf claims another, this time onto the Zarya, as they will continue to look for those squishy targets. Mitcher barely staying alive with the help of Dabagita, and now, as they will continue to brawl it out, it will be an advantage building up in favor of Singularity.
They are controlling this point, and off the back of Massey getting dropped at the end of that first fight, they should be able to take this as they take down Massey. They will collect this point, their prize for winning that last fight. 2:40 on the clock. Now they'll be able to get that extra time. Addy right now having a Graviton, so we're going to have a little bit of a battle there. And it won't be as much the Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, but rather seeing who wants to be aggressive with this Graviton Surge coming out first. Obling spotted out. They're going to go right for him.
And we'll see whether or not it's going to pay off as they're going to wrap around their opposition at the very least push away from the objective. But so far, no claims, or rather no kills claimed on either side.
Obling got his Graviton eaten up by the Diva Matrix, and there's Nerfed with another big Earth Shatter. If they can win this fight quickly, they can start pushing forward. Addy gets the Graviton, but he has to back out. They don't have enough damage just yet, but there it is. It's coming in waves, in droves, and they will find the kills as well.
And even though he managed to get 3 of them down, it wasn't quite the targets they were looking for the side of Singularity, and as a result, they will be once again bullied towards that spawn, as we've seen it happen yesterday with Northern Lights versus Samsung Morningstar's Blue.
Soundbarrier ready for Mitcher. He's going to go ahead and pop it out now. They're going to be so hard to take down in this situation, especially when Singularity has no options just yet. Birb Boys just bullying them in their own spawn. They can't even get to the payload at all. Graviton's coming down, and it's going to be Molf still staying alive somehow. Nerfed was taken out, and that's going to be What 7's big opportunity to get that Earth Shatter out. They're still getting these kills in the spawn.
This is so relentless, but You're gonna have to imagine Singularity with 3 minutes and 38 seconds left. They're gonna be building up an advantage in terms of those ultimates. They're gonna be coming back from spawn, regroup, and look to secure this team fight. But considering the fact that they're playing so far forward, this has bought so much time off the clock for Birb Boys.
Oh, the self-destruct goes up. Graviton comes down. They catch him onto the payload, but they need to find those kills quickly because they're still stuck in their spawn. What7 has been a monster so far. Nerfed gets shut down, not gonna have that same impact as he's used to, but he still finds the pin somehow onto Mitcher, and it's still a brawl. What7 taken down low. Nerfed hunting him down will find that kill, and they will now just barrel down onto I believe that is Vinandra, and it is indeed as he goes out as well. Finally, Singularity can move this thing forward and bring this gate down. It has taken forever.
But they will have still 2 minutes, 42 seconds left, but still so many fights are gonna come up. You bet you're gonna see a lot of Birb Boys set themselves up forward once they get to regroup now, especially off of that high ground, potentially, but even so, it will look to engage potential with the rally. It seems like that's what they're doing.
What7 has his Earth Shatter. He's going to look for that opportunity. He's been fantastic so far. He has a lot of protection, but so does Nerfed as he comes forward too. He catches a couple, but there's the answer. Nerfed getting the better end again. Graviton ready for Obling, but they shouldn't need it. They'll collect those kills. They'll continue forward. 2 minutes, so still quite low, but Nerfed finally finding his groove once more.
And the big thing now is the fact that we'll see the Gravitons be the deciding factor. So once again, we go back to the emphasis on those Zaryas. And coming in back from spawn, we'll see where they're going to look to position themselves. And it seems like it's on that high ground, but on the other side, they will build a lot of this. It seems like they will go for the wraparound.
Oh, I think Obling wants it. The Graviton comes down, a big stun to follow. Self-destruct comes out, not going to find a kill yet. And Obling goes for one of his own. They should be able to get this here. Self-destruct going to claim Addy. Now it's just about cleanup, and Singularity once again take it. Finding their way to the end of the line, end of the bridge. They have sorted it out. They have been able to find their way into the castle. 2:42 on the clock here, Brunch.
And unfortunately for the side of Birb Boys, when they went for the Graviton, they couldn't get the Reinhardt out of the picture, and the one member that was away from the Reinhardt's protection was Demora, so he could just fade away anyway. And at this point, looking to this last phase of Eichenwald here for the attacking side of Singularity, they're going to look to engage with the Coalescence, looking for any target so far. Not going to drop anyone just yet. Soundbeard, though, popped on both sides.
Oh, Nerf not going to get much with that Earth Shatter. Actually almost gets flattened, but somehow stays alive. Finds Massey himself. What7 trying to turn this back around, but he's getting pushed around himself. Graviton ready for Obling, and you can see he has such high charge. They could just keep pushing this one forward, and they'll do just that. Need to find that kill onto Mitcher. They will do it, and look at that. I mean, there is almost nothing that Birb Boys can do at this stage. Addy has a Graviton soon, but Obling has one of his own, and if they take a big team wipe right here, that will be it.
Is there going to be a Vinandra to potentially use the Matrix, but it's not going to be too successful. The charge was there, and as a result, the kills will be claimed. 2 in favor of, make that a third in favor of Singularity, and we'll look to close this one out. Nobody on the point, and just barely in time. Vinandra on that Diva will be pushed away, and it's not going to be enough. Singularity do close this one out.
Nerfed with another impressive performance. Finally finds a way to find that flow, find that spacing where he's able to, deal with the opposing Reinhardt. We saw him sneak one in at the very end there underneath the payload and drop What7 to the ground. It's plays like that really open things up for your team, especially with compositions like this. And when you're running them right into each other, the way that we're seeing, it really comes down to, winning out the control fight, making sure that you have control over your opponent, because that's really the biggest battle between, this type of composition versus this type of composition. Having the 3-0-3 and things like it. You want to be able to have your Reinhardt getting the better end of the deal more often than not, and Nerfed is the one getting it right now.
And we'll see how things will play out in this second round as we will be swapping over sides. Of course, the big factor that opened up that first objective for the side of Singularity last time around was the fact that we did see Massey a little bit overextended did go down, and the respawn advantage was in favor, of course, of the attacking side with such a long distance. For the defense, means that if you lose any members, that could very well allow the opposition to regroup with this kind of comp and just run all over you.
I'm interested, though, into what they're doing here. I mean, Obling was fantastic on the Zarya throughout this series so far, but they're instead opting for a Junkrat because they think, and they'd be right too, to expect that there's going to be a 3-0-3 coming their way. I mean, this is going to provide a lot of pressure, especially through a choke point. They're going to have a lot of damage into what is going to be a very stacked comp, a very stacked strategy that they're going to try to stay together as much as they can on their attack. And Obling might be able to oppress that a little bit on the Junkrat. However, we'll have to see how it plays out, because without the Zarya, that's a little bit of protection lost for Nerfed, and not being able to enable your tank like that, it could wind up being something that it becomes a fault.
And so far already trying to speed boost their way towards the point. We will see Birb Boys looking to engage. So far, no kills on either side. Obling doesn't quite manage to find the damage he was looking for. Only at 37%. Would expect it to be higher, but the charge is going to come through out of Watt 7. Taking Nerfed on the right, but he does manage to stay alive. Monado doesn't. And with that first blood, we might see Birb Boys capitalize and claim this first objective.
Zarya's been able to eliminate a lot of the pressure coming out from the Junkrat as well, and so far Obling hasn't been able to find too much. He will have the Riptire up soon though, and this is a big opportunity. Needs to pull it out, needs to find some kills here. Not gonna find one though.
And especially with those armor pack, or rather those armor out with the rally being up, it's gonna make it all too difficult. One return kill does go through though for Singularity, but it's gonna be Veinless and Adi now claiming extra kills. They're still fighting it out on the point. They have one ticket with those final few members eventually dying out. It is going to be Birb Boys looking pretty good, but not before Fall stalls it out just a little extra while.
So far, we haven't really seen Junkrat be a capable answer to this 3-0-3 brawl, because what they're doing is you're just feeding ult charge to Veinless on the Moira, and that Moira is going to get charged. We saw it actually on Hanamura in our last series as well between CIS Hope and Snakes, where they ended it the same way. The Junkrat was just feeding ult charge to the Moira, but here it is. Graviton Surge comes down. They need to find the kills now. Earthshatter ready for Watt 7. He's going to lay it down. It's mostly blocked, though, by Nerfed.
Only the D.Va being desuited for it, but is it going to be enough as they're still finding it out on the point? And the defensive side, popping the sound barrier alongside the Earthshatter will be looking good, but not good enough potentially. Only Mitcher now finally also Massey going down for the side of Birb Boys. Adi looking to retaliate. Vinanra picks one himself, and slowly but surely we do see Birb Boys winning this one out, especially with that respawn advantage this time around.
I don't know how that kept Addy alive in this one. He dipped so low so many times. They are able now to start going forward. 123 was the time we saw set by Singularity just moments ago. And now we see once again another one of those situations where Graviton's already on both sides. Obling and Addy both have them. But look at this, Watt 7 setting up. Not going to get that surprise hit with the Earthshatter, but this is going to come down to who gets the better end of the deal with those Gravitons coming down.
They catch all of them. The Earthshatter, not too successful, but it will secure the deal here for the attacking side of Birb Boys. And with it, it will continue to move this payload forward. Mitcher loads himself, loaned Lucio on a mission on set payload. Didn't even need him for that fight.
Well, what they did was they jumped off quick. They took that loss very quickly because they saw that 3 ults came out. Massey, Watt 7, Addy. Now they can re-engage, go right in. They lost Nerf, though. That's awful for this situation because they really wanted to be able to just kind of posture up and get right in there, throw all the ults that they had at it. Obling threw his Graviton Surge down, but they didn't find anything. Nerf needed to be there, needed to have the backup of the Earthshatter.
I think they were gambling on the fact that Fall will land a stun on that Reinhardt to get the kill out of the way, but so far, Watt 7 still takes Mofig on the right, gets that kill secured. However, the Graviton into the Earthshatter will secure an easy quad for Vinandra, and with that, maybe the play of the game, sponsored by the Zarya, but at the very least it will give them that second objective.
But how much was necessary for them to be able to find that? I mean, 3 ultimates all at once to be able to find those kills when really I think they would have been able to get it just with the Graviton alone. And now we'll see Fall going forward. They're being aggressive once again. Singularity need to take some time off the clock. They need to be able to win some of these fights now, or they'll be at a detriment going towards, overtime, going towards following, rather, regulation time.
And we'll see them now still looking to win this one out. Both Reinhardt's rapidly getting that Earth Shatter. Sound Barrier committed from the offensive side. Coalescence is the answer on the other end. 1-7 though gets pinned down, and with that kill, we might just see Singularity finally stabilize.
Oh, Addy, I think he was wanting to drop the Graviton, but he just wasn't healthy. The rest of his team was forced to back out as well. So again, these Zaryas staying so high on their charge because of the nature of this brawl that we're seeing. I mean, it's back and forth, it's bloody, and they're just completely going at it in melee range, and Nerfed and What7 are just having the duel of their lives.
And we'll see now with that Graviton coming through, catching a lot of people there, but the Fire Strike claims one. It's a 2-for-1 so far. Sound Barrier committed from the defensive side as Graviton is the answer on the other end. Still an interesting back and forth. Even Rally now committed, but overall, What7 getting that second kill in the end. This should be looking like Birb Boys will continue to push that payload for a while further.
Did see Venanra throwing out that self-destruct as well. Not sure if it was because he wanted to get a reset so he didn't have to come back from spawn so he could get a quick timer or what, but instead we will have him out of an ultimate as they look to go into this next engagement. Again, very quick Coalescence ready for Lindo. Expect to see that come out. It's already out. What7 with an Earth Shatter as he's trying to get that shield down with the rest of his team. He throws it out. It's blocked.
But
oh no, it's not. It's not.
It was right behind the payload, and Fall at the very least still gets one kill in the end, and Nerf with another. And even though he landed a triple CC off of that Earth Shatter, it wasn't quite enough. Even Addy going out was pretty big because he was still holding on to that Graviton. And the big important thing now for this side of Singularity is they wasted a bunch of time for their opponents. Now only with 1 minute and 40 seconds left.
Graviton ready for Addy as well, but look at this. Obling must be incredibly high charged at the moment because he's able to get a lot of that charge up himself. He's going to be able to, answer that pretty soon if this continues. Addy trying to throw it down. He catches them inside of it. Oh, they're going to be able to find the kills.
They have to already, but a return Graviton will look for more. Self-destructs on both sides, and it will be the blue head side of Birb Boys winning out instead, as they will continue to find the kills and look to potentially close it out.
But looking forward, we have stall swaps happening. Mono needs to get away if he can. He's going to die off, though, with the Sound Barrier. They need to stall for as long as possible. We see not only the Sound Barrier ready, Land has Coalescence, Fall has Rally. They could potentially hold on here.
They didn't want to let them get to the payload in the first place. Fall doesn't manage to sneak his way in. We will see the Earth Shatter out of What7, but the Sound Barrier will keep the rest of the defense alive. But the question is for how long, considering Massey claims another kill. Overall, in terms of the positioning, it is favoring the attacking side as they will look to claim even more. But so much time wasted now, down only to 27 seconds left.
Oh, I don't know if they're going to be able to hang on much longer. Somehow May makes it the wall, and now in that freeze, and it's going to look like, okay, they finally take it here. Singularity finally just dies off. They can't make it back any longer. Birb Boys, hanging on for dear life. And now we'll see that final timer. It's going to be 2:05 to 1 minute. Birb Boys with that first attack.
But Singularity definitely doing an amazing work in the defensive side, especially at the end there. They brought it down in under a minute. As a result, moving forward, going into this next attacking side for Birb Boys with only 1 minute on the clock, it's going to come down to those early picks again.
And you have to wonder, defensively, whether or not Singularity is going to want to go for something cheeky. One of those aggressive positions, like right off the bat, try to catch them off guard, steal away those crucial, 20, 25 seconds. I'm not sure if they're going to want to do it. It looks like they are kind of setting things up here as they're hidden away. Are they going to be spotted? Is it going to be expected? Is it going to work out as they come down from this high ground?
Well, it's going to be the thing to keep your eyes out for sure, especially how they're going to time their approach once they hear their opponents slowly coming in, and of course, also as they will expect them. But with 6 seconds left on the clock. This team fight, this first team fight, could very well dictate the winner of Eichenwalden right now.
All right, well, they're coming out of the gates and not exactly storming just yet. Oh, they are looking for him, though. They're being smart about it. They're approaching cautiously, looking around. It is heard now, though, and they come right on down.
And is it going to be the strategy that is superior as Watt7 still finds a kill? Back down a double. And with this man disadvantage now for Singularity, it seems like Birb Boys will be looking good and potentially will be claiming a very fast first point cap in this overtime.
Perhaps learning from the mistakes of some other teams in this tournament. Approaching that one cautiously was the smart play. They made it, and it's going to pay off big time here as they're going to cap this point out. They're going to have now what will amount to an overtime push and another opportunity here for Singularity to come back in. They're going to come around this corner, storming around it, and again spotted out by the D.Va.
But still, considering the fact that it is overtime, it's not going to be that easy for Team Birb Boys to keep this one rolling. But now with the Earth Shatter, things are still looking good. Adi claims a double kill, staying charged up, and has the Graviton. Now good to go too.
They're going to want to hold on to this if they can, and they will indeed. Now another opportunity to take another fight, and they're in a good position to do just that. They just want to keep this payload moving, ideally with 3 people if they can, but they're going to set up instead, try to make sure that they win this next fight so that they have someone on the payload continuously pushing this through. So now just waiting that... Oh, Graviton's going to catch him off guard! They could take this fight too!
Oh no, they were split off. Molfig wasn't in position to potentially gobble it up with that Matrix, and as a result, it is a free kill favoring the side of Birb Boys. And even though Molfig was trying to go for that Lucio, expecting maybe that lone member on that payload, didn't pay off for them. And with that, it's going to be a lot more distance here covered for Birb Boys.
Singularity just letting this go time and time again, but finally they're going to have their ultimates coming up. They're going to have all 6 available in this next fight unless they get picked early. Graviton ready. They're going to want to throw it down quickly, try to get them grouped up. It goes down, not eaten up. Self-destruct to come up as well.
And it will claim 2 kills, so it's looking good for Singularity, especially now with a first. Finally, it took them a lot of ultimates lined up for themselves, but they will be looking like through overtime, they will push the opposition away. And as we move over to their attacking side, it's still not gonna be looking too hot, because with 2 minutes, with the amount of distance you will also need to cover, we might just see Birb Boys win this one out.
Definitely a lot of distance covered for sure. 2 minutes is a decent chunk of time, but most of that is going to have to come through overtime if they manage to win this one, more than likely. However, starting things off, I mean, they set up quite nicely. Just when they dropped down, they weren't able to really, front load a lot of that damage. We already saw how Venanro was able to spot that out, not once, but actually twice. And off the back of that intel, off the back of that vision that we saw Venanro setting up for, they were able to get so much distance covered, and it was almost solely because of that. Yes, they had great ult usage. Yes, they worked together quite nicely. And a little setup once again here. A different position, but very similar already. Now we'll have to see if Singularity is going to be privy to this kind of thing, just like Birb Boys was, or not.
You would expect them not to be, but you never know. Some of these teams, especially under pressure, how they would be approaching these type of objectives. And the interesting thing is they might not even go for that way. So we'll see what their choice will be here as the round will start and whether or not this will play it out. Because as said, they will be going for a different approach that gets spotted out by Venanro once again.
Oh, this might be a similar situation here. Nerf looks so healthy right now as he's charging away. He's finally getting put under pressure, and he's going to be taken down, but it's still back and forth. And as things are, kind of equal here, it's going to favor the attacking side as they can continue to run back from spawn much quicker than the opposition.
Especially with Molfe claiming another kill at the back of that, but Watt7 finding a charge. Kill himself will potentially turn things around with Coalescence now. Will manage to keep Adi alive. So still not over just yet. Fighting it out on the point. 1 minute, 20 seconds. Earth Shatter coming through.
in the face of Nerf charging forward. What7 cleans that up. I mean, completely counters that up. If Nerf would have hit that charge, that would have been Singularity's point to take, but What7 shuts it down with the Earth Shatter. And now Singularity, with only a minute on their timer now, will have to look forward with what could be a final opportunity, depending on how this pans out. Nerf, though, Obling, both with their ults, they're getting aggressive, and there's the Earth Shatter.
And onto a key pick, because Adi will not be able to use that Graviton. Sound Barrier was propped. Will it be enough to secure the fight, though, as Massey takes one kill himself onto Nerf, so it's not going to be over just yet. Counter Coalescence was used, but Graviton still available for Obling. He's going to look for it. Maybe the Diva needs to get these two to first. No, he's going to go right ahead, go in. What7, Earth Shatter, not going to be as successful.
Addy is coming back from respawn. You saw it just shortly there with the Graviton Surge. He's going to have that available, but not a lot of people left around him to utilize that, so he's going to hang on. Point taken now by Singularity, but just as we saw with Birb Boys, this is going to have to be an overtime push all the way through. And remember the distance that was covered by Birb Boys. 120 meters must be trekked with this payload for them to be able to take this one.
And considering the fact that Audi did hold off from using that Graviton, they still have Mitch's Sound Barrier. They should be looking like the favorite team coming into this one now, playing aggressive. They do have that Sound Barrier through. Graviton was used, catches 4, but are the kills there so far? It's 1 down, make that a second, and they need to keep this one rolling. Bird Boys might equalize the series with Eigenball as they will continue to claim those kills. What7 swinging away, even keeping his team safe with that shield. Was self-destruct was out, but the respawns are still good for the attacking side, so that might swing it back in their favor, but it's not over just yet.
Oh, they're backing them out. They looked like they were in a solid position. What7 gonna get some protection from that projected barrier, but still, Fall is just beating them down right now as they're coming back from respawn, having more opportunities. Obling gonna have the Graviton, they drop it. They could take this, they could push them back. They're finding kills inside of it. What7 still backed up. He's gonna go for a charge, he won't find anything. And instead, Singularity are the ones finding something, and it's 6K team wipe.
But look at this, Adi, even though he used that Graviton, he's pretty much having another one at the ready. Almost 6 ultimates lined up throughout that prolonged team fight for the side of Bird Boys. And as they're considering the distance, considering what they're up against, they should have the tools necessary to make that win happen.
There's not going to have that spawn advantage either, so as they drop down, Addy going to be looking for that Graviton. If they can eat this up, that'll be huge, but they don't. They all get stuck in it. They have the rally, they have the armor, and there's Nerf with a huge Earth Shatter.
That could have saved it potentially. What7 almost goes down, but the return of Shatter is even better, especially with What7 taking out his counterpart, and Nerf will be looking for more. Sound Barrier secured as well, and with 6v4 advantage, you should be looking at Bird Boys being the victors here.
However, it's still a brawl on the point. They haven't been able to deal with Molf yet, but they're cleaning everybody else up around him. He's going to be disintegrated out of the mech. Overtime still ticking. It's going to just fall all the way down. Bird Boys equalize the series here on Eichenwald. We'll move to Anubis next, but man, Eichenwald was back and forth. Singularity losing that one out off the back of Bird Boys with an insane overtime push.
And that's the problem you might face through overtime pushes like that. Even though they going into said second attack phase, you did have Singularity with the overall time back advantage. It wasn't enough. Bird Boys still with a better execution in the end, and those clutch little plays, it did mean rather that they are the victors this time around and equalize it once again, or rather equalize it 1-1 in this series. And we have again a possible 5-map series as well.
I would love to see that, especially, you know, we got some good games yesterday. We have insane games today, back and forth. I'd love to see some more control, to have an opportunity for Bird Boys to be able to, you know, redeem themselves based off of what we saw on Ilios already. So possibly, yes. However, with how this has kind of been panning out, Singularity looks very solid, but Bird Boys continue to find these little ways to kind of clutch things out.
And we'll see if they can continue to clutch things out or with the next map coming up soon. Once again, we are tied 1-1. This time, though, it's Singularity versus Birb, boys. Once again, my name is Brunch, joined by Hurix, and looking forward onto our assault map. It's going to be Anubis. We've seen a few different sides of both of these teams in terms of what they will play, but I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more brawling.
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game for us right now. Moving on to Anubis, this could be a little bit of a change of pace for us, though. We could see a little bit of Sombra coming into the play, especially on point B. We've already seen that so far, yesterday when we had this map thrown in as well. So that could kind of, maybe give us a little bit of a change up. And at this point, with how much we've seen it, I'm definitely interested in seeing what other kind of flavors we can get out of Singularity and Birb, boys. I'm looking for, snipers. I'm looking for potential of Winston Diva. I'm looking for just something else. I want to see what kind of, versatility they have as teams.
We've already seen some of that firepower be displayed on Ruins for the side of Singularity, and considering it's Anubis, we might have a look at more Widowmaker play coming out of this team, depending on how we start things off. It could come on both offense and defense. Different teams so far, even in this third season of the Pit Championship, have played at that Widowmaker in different positions.
Right.
Especially if you go for the Orisa, would like to see her play around those shields, as we've seen, especially with Northern Lights.
Yeah, I mean, Orisa definitely being at the forefront for that, but I don't know. I mean, tank probably going to come through as much as we would love to see double sniper, as much as we would love to see, even some kind of dive, as much as we would love to see Sombra. Sombra could still come through, but I'm kind of still expecting a little bit of that tank play, especially for point B on an attack phase. And we actually saw that as well yesterday. It's just such a solid composition to go in there, especially if you, already use it on point A, or if you, make a quick swap before the defending team is able to set up. You could go ahead and take advantage of that and just brawl it out as these teams do.
And considering the fact that it is Anubis, as previously said, and just like you said, also with the brawling factor, we might potentially see something like a Reaper too. We've seen Samsung try their hand at it, have a little bit of success, but I could see it happen again in this matchup on this map.
I feel like on this map, it might make sense if you run a Lucio, if you get it into position properly, have the speed boost so that you can actually take advantage of the opposing team running a tank comp, if you expect that to happen. Is this the right matchup to expect that to happen? Yes, absolutely, because that's pretty much all we've been able to see so far between these teams. So running a Reaper and potentially a Lucio together, even just doing like a 2-1-3 might actually work out in their favor. But let's dive into the match here, get right into the map. And if we look It doesn't seem like anybody wants to run that. It instead will be straight up 3-3-3 or 3-0-3 rather on both sides.
And even with that Reaper, I would like to see it more on offense, potentially on that second point rather than the first. But so far already with a far forward positioning coming on the defensive side here, we will see Birb still looking to get anything done, and it's going to be off of 1-7's charge, but not before Nerfed answers.
So now they have the advantage of the Reinhardt, but not for very long, because as soon as we mention someone's name, they die off, and it seems like Bird Boys are going to surge forward off of that. Push forward as well. 1-7 opened things up just enough before dying off, and interestingly, they're going to come away with a lot of ult charge in their bank, because 1-7 was able to do enough before he died. He already has the Earth Shatter ready. Addy's at 72%. I mean, they're going to have Veinless, they're going to have the Self-Destruct. There's so many options available for them, whereas if they can shut down Lin, there's really going to be not too much to answer with for Singularity.
And that's the big thing with these assault maps. You always want to snowball as soon as possible, close it out, and now opening it up with the rally. The Coalescence will be popped on both sides eventually. Veinless having his run out later, and now with that Self-Destruct will look to just push, or rather split the team apart of the defensive side, and as a result, right there, Massey claims the kill off of it. The Graviton will be used, and the kills will favor this side of Bird Boys so heavily that this just might be it.
Sometimes you get to witness some incredibly brilliant Overwatch play, and that is another example of it. Bird Boys threw up the Self-Destruct, and as soon as we saw Venandra throw that up, they knew exactly what Nerf was going to do. He was going to fall back into that back corner, into that back alley behind the statue, and when he did, they answered quickly, charge right through. They sent Massey in there as well on the Brigitte, and what did they do? They instantly took him out and were able to just control the fight from there. Tons of kills right after that, but again, the setup from Venandra and then the follow-up from Massey and 1-7 to know exactly what to do and where to go and how to execute it. The timing was perfect. It was impeccable. The charge was there as soon as he came back around the corner. I mean, they had to have drawn that up somewhere.
Most definitely, but that's the nature of the beast when you have these kind of setups, these kind of compositions. You lose out on that first point, it's going to be that much more obvious how heavy these matchups can snowball one way or another, especially, again, considering it's Assault. And now that we will be swapping over sides, we will have Singularity try their hands on the attack. It's looking like it's still all-out brawl, still 3-0-3.
But that's a good way to start. We mentioned yesterday, off of the back of an insane time being displayed on a 2CP map, here's another one, 6:23. Anything over 6 minutes is like absolutely insane in my book to be able to score that, especially against a team like Singularity. But look at this. Look at the way that they're setting up. A little bit of an aggressive setup here, going back to, you know, even what we saw from Eichenwald. But they're going to look to try to take advantage. Massey just making sure that he's checking those corners, and Venandra is like kind of just making sure that they stay in tune with just, yes, everybody's behind this. Don't pay any attention to the fact that my whole team is going to be behind you if you try to come at me.
And it seems like he will be discounted once again as Wolkie wants to charge in, but the shields were there, doesn't quite catch that Diva, but overall, dropping Lind really low, will be able to disengage once again, and as it still fights, or rather, as the fight is still going on, no kills claimed just yet. And we will see the Earth Shatter actually finally go through, casted from the side of Bird Boys, and with Lin pulling out the Coalescence, it's a double kill, and it is going to be a team fight win.
An incredible ult coming from Nerf, and not only that, but he's going to potentially have another opportunity to pull one out after this fight going into the second point. If they're able to get there quickly, capture it out, and it looks like they should, especially because Venandra is going to have to take the Walk of Shame, and actually it looks like he might actually just go over and take his Walk of Shame over to the point, delay it as much as he can if he can even make it. And I think it's going to just take more time off the clock, and it will indeed. They're going to have an advantage pushing into this one, and now Nerfed is going to have to be able to shut them down quickly. Addy underneath, going to have the Graviton ready, coming around the side, looking for that opening, and drops it down, catches them all.
And that's a big one because the Earth Shatter was blocked. Nerf didn't manage to be too successful, but Watt7 does go through with it. Maybe didn't need it. However, it is a team fight win for the side of Birb Boys, and as a result, they will be taking some extra time from the opposition, and that's what matters in these matchups, to make sure you stall them out and stop the bleeding, if you will, with these snowballs.
Still, in these kind of fights where, you know, it really comes down to charging those ults up and then just kind of front-loading everything, throwing everything that you have at them, you see a lot of these team fights, and that's when it becomes very difficult to stall. Self-destruct going out, though. Rally ready for Massey. They send Nerfed all the way to the side. They have them completely split up.
And with that rally, they will manage to stay alive. But the question is for how long? Massey with that projected barrier somehow stays alive long enough, but will go down eventually. The charges on both sides. Sound barrier now popped from the defensive side of Birb Boys, as they will have the rally coming back from spawn. But Nerf with that Earth Shatter would only lay Bananra down. Graviton, though, used defensively, and that looks like it's potentially going to be enough for Birb Boys to hold once again.
Look how quickly Vaneless can get this charge up for Coalescence. Already back at 40%, was able to do a lot with that Coalescence in the last fight. Now we're seeing the timer ticking lower to 5:20, so now a minute lower than what we saw Birb Boys able to accomplish themselves by being actually able to capture it. However, ever since that first fight didn't really go their way, they've taken a lot of steps to make sure that they shore up that first loss, and now are looking very, very poised to make a couple more fights go their way for this second point defense.
It's already even more time wasted, as we'll see both of these teams clash right underneath their self-destruct. Popped, but no kills gained because of it. Bananra will have the resuit at the very full HP at that, as well as we will see Watt7 try to go for the charge. Graviton will be hit by the defensive side, clumping a bunch of them up, but we do see the counter grab not be as successful. And even though the Coalescence, and even though I say that, Mofig picks up a double and the D-suit, but do they have enough of an advantage to close this one out too?
They have a lot of people on the point, but at the moment it's only 4. They still need to get everybody else from respawn, and now we're seeing Bird Boys coming back through. Earthshatter comes out, lays 2 down. They need to find kills in it, though, as Mulf will go ahead and fly all the way off, but now reinforcements coming back in. Obling still at 92 charge here, as they're going to find some last-minute kills. Bananra will lose his mech in the sky, will be taken down before he even reaches the ground. And finally, they do take it, 357, so still a very solid time for Singularity as well. And that's what I was talking about, Brunch. You know, the nature of these compositions, once you get, you know, something going your way, it's hard to lose that momentum, or at least a little bit harder than, you know, the old dive setup and then running into a stall like that.
At the very least, though, Birb Boys did manage to find their way on with that second point. The defense make sure that they stalled as long as possible, and now that we'll be not swapping over sides, we will still see Birb Boys on the defense. Another go for Singularity. Should be ready in terms of any cheeky positionings from the defensive side of Birb Boys. So my eyes are on spotting out how they're going to approach this one.
So it looks like they're going to be a little bit more reserved this time around, at least for now. They haven't gone straight over to that fountain and look to set up there, but again, a huge advantage. About 2.5 minutes in favor of Birb Boys as they're defending now. Another opportunity, but you know, they really got a lot of headway. Singularity did off of the back of that first fight, where Watt7 fell a little bit earlier in that engagement. And really, I think Nerfed, you know, kind of set the pace. He was able to get that Earthshatter quick, and he went for it pretty much right away, setting down Watt7 and allowing them to get that first kill.
Now with another attacking round for the side of Singularity. They're gonna try their hand to make sure no shenanigans are afoot this time around. We'll be looking to engage, but it's gonna be Watt7 charging in. The counter charge is just gonna displace them for now, as they will look to claim something on the board. It's gonna be Watt7 with the first blood, though.
Oblin going forward has so much charge, but they're going to have to back out for now. Waiting for Nerf to come back from respawn. He's very close to having that Earthshatter, but so is Watt7, and they're going to have a battle for sure between the two of them to see who can find the value in that ultimate.
Both of these teams having pretty much mirror matchups when it comes to those ultimates, but it's going to be Watt7 getting the kill, and this should open up an easy teamfight win for Birb Boys as they're looking to clean things up. Watt7 did even go ahead and commit the Earth Shatter, and as a result, even more time off the clock for Team Singularity.
Bird Boys looking a lot better right now, adding at 80% towards the Graviton Surge. However, things are starting to come together for Singularity. This might be a good time for them to push through. Aggression being displayed by Bird Boys, though, as they just come right out of that doorway.
We'll see Fall drop really low because of it, but somehow managing to stay alive with the help of his team. Will look to re-engage alongside him. No kills so far, but Adi with that Graviton might pop it right in. The shield should be there, and indeed it is. The counter grab was not used. Watt7 going in with that charge, finds that Lucio, and with these extra kills, it should be eventually, once again, Bird Boys holding out strong.
However, coming into this next fight, Overling will have the opportunity to drop an ult of his own, get that Graviton out. But in the meantime, given how long that fight took and how high charged Addy was, he's already back up at 60%. They still have the Earth Shatter rather. They still have Sound Barrier. There's tons of ways for them to buy enough time for Addy to get that Graviton ready, and they're going to play this backside corner too as well, just playing into the archway. There's the Graviton, there's the self-destruct as well.
And as they will not claim any kills off of it, the Sound Barrier was seemingly enough to keep this Bird Boys lineup strong, but Earth Shatter now is going to catch 4, and with that, Fall gets the first kill for the side of Singularity, but they need to keep up this momentum, and it's going to be off of Nerf. Going in with a Fire Strike kill off onto Watt7, another one onto Adi, and it took them a while, but Singularity finally opened up this first point.
They'll be able to collect those final kills, 110. They'll be able to get that extra 30 seconds to move forward towards that second point. But here's the thing, so much time was ripped away from them by Bird Boys just being so efficient with what they had available. It was so close to being able to actually win that one too. Somehow we saw Nerf connect on the charge in Watt7's face right at that point where we saw the Earth Shatter.
But look at this, Adi now with the Mei is gonna be looking to section them off, and even though he lands a pretty big Earth Shatter, only lands 1 kill off of it. So things might still be looking good for the defensive side of Bird Boys, but as I say that, it's not over just yet. Only Baneless is coalescent, slowly timing out. Nerf does find the kill, and with Lin using the coalescence of his own alongside all of that armor, we might just see Singularity capitalize and snowball this one.
Oh, Massey forced back to the spawn. He's going to have to get a little bit of a heal before he comes back around, and they'll be able to see him coming too. Will he have the ability to get in there and have some kind of help with the resistance? Still self-destruct ready. Mole's going to send it up. The Graviton comes down. They find the kills. They're cleaning things up. They might still have time on the clock if they can do this quick enough.
They already have 2 ticks, rapidly approaching that for nobody on the point just now. And Adi will manage to stall a little bit extra. Their Shadow doesn't quite land, doesn't need it. It will be Singularity with 21 seconds, getting that 4th point on the board.
This could very well be a very high scoring map for sure, as they will have extra time should Bird Boys complete this one themselves as well, to potentially go for 5, maybe even that elusive 6th point that you don't see all too often. But nonetheless, Bird Boys, their opportunity to attack now. You would expect to see the 3-0-3 more than likely, as that's been what we've gotten from these two teams pretty much throughout, I would say. I mean, there was just really kind of just a couple of moments, you know, even just on that first map on Ilios, on Ruins, where we saw Obeling toying with the Widowmaker a little bit. It worked out well for them, but you know, ever since, they've kind of settled. They both settled into this composition, and both, I mean, seemingly feel quite confident with it.
They did try their hand at running something like Junkrat for a small amount of time, but as I said, it didn't really work out. And if this is the composition right now, hey, why not stick with it? But looking at the attacking side this time around, for Bird Boys, who haven't been at it for quite a while, what seems like, as Baneless could be running that Hanzo.
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be running Hanzo because they don't have enough healing. He's going to switch back to the Moira. I have to imagine.
Spot out any cheeky positioning.
Okay, yeah. And then he's going to swap back over to the Moira. So he's just going to make sure that they're not going to get plowed over right when they come out of the gate, over to that fountain. So they're going to go forward now. A couple of defenders on the high ground. Everybody else falling through, though. And that charge actually is going to get shielded off, barriered out by Addy, and already nerfed. How did he get that so fast?
Already getting it, make sure they secure the team fight win, pushing them all the way back at the spawn. No out of the ordinary positioning needed for their defensive side. Just superior play this time around, as they will push the opposition away and allow the rest of the team at the very least to look forward, to build up quite a few ultimates. But on the other side, Bois rapidly approaching his Earth Shatter.
Yeah, no surprises necessary. Bois going to be aggressive here, though, trying to make up for what just happened. And now Coalescence out from Vaneless. He's catching everybody with it. Going to find the kill onto Nerfed, who just popped off in the last fight. Earthshatter ready for Bois, but he doesn't want to use it in this situation. They're already cleaning things up. He wants it for that next point. He wants to be able to take it into that next stage, point B, where they can find some value, get some clearance off of it, get some control. Now they're going to have about 5:30 to work with once they captured this point, to go forward and take it, and look what they have available to them. Almost everything other than Coalescence, but remember, that's a quick ult to get back up.
That's the big thing. So many of those important ultimates are available, so it's gonna come down to those small things. Who can land the first one in the better position, the better spot, as the rally is gonna be the first opening decision here for the attacking side of Singularity, or rather the Birb Boys, as Nerfed is gonna be claiming the kill still. Pull that Graviton. And now with Mitcher out of the question, out of the picture, we'll see the rest of Singularity push on forward and hold out strong to the second objective.
They didn't really have to use anything other than that. I mean, they were able to take that fight cleanly off of that one Graviton because of the fact that they found Mitcher so quickly. Now he's going to be more than likely found again, and he is indeed. 4:40 on the clock. Singularity doing their best impression of Northern Lights yesterday, just stacking right up next to the spawn. We saw it as well just in this last last series. CIS Hope versus Snakes. It's being displayed once again. This composition loves to stand next to that spawn.
Ooh, but the charge makes sure they both land their Earth Shatters. Nerfed so far, though, with the first kill of this team fight. We'll be looking for more, and teams like Singularity do it again. They will be coming out on top of this one.
What's so important here, too, is that they're pulling ults away from the offense. Bird Boys just have, one less answer every time they come away from a fight. One less thing that they can utilize to be able to secure some momentum early into a fight, and to be able to kind of keep that snowball rolling so they can get this second point. But 350, again, still a lot of time to work with.
But that approach coming out of the side of Bird Boys will be looking to force the opposition back towards their point. We'll be looking to engage with that sound barrier. Still no kills claimed, but the Graviton will connect, self-destruct to follow it up, and all the way on top. It's not going to be good enough. 1-7 though, ready with their shot. It's going to be Nerf landing them down, and with that charge, it will seem like Singularity do it again.
Somehow, some way, we saw Nerfed able to come together. I mean, they got bonked on the head by a self-destruct too, and still managed to survive that one. As Addy threw down the Graviton, they are somehow not able to find the kills, and again, just coming away with 1-2 less things to use, and right into the spawn they go.
And with that Coalescent, the Fire Strike, they will be pushing the opposition away, and that said, always seemingly one step ahead of the opposition. Having those ultimates at the ready will still have, of course, the Graviton as well as the Earth Shatter. No support ultimates. Maybe that rally soon enough. However, on the other side, we'll see whether or not they want to engage with the rally of their own.
Earth Shatter at the ready for Nerfed. He's looking for it. You can see him looking for it, but that's the Graviton pulling the Reinhardt in, but nobody else is in there with them, so that will be the self-destruct kill easily.
And with the D-Suit, with the kills going through as well, will be once again Singularity wasting so much time off of the opposition's attack. Now down to 2 minutes and 8 seconds. But finally, for the side of Bird Boys, they should be looking better off going into this next few team fights. But as they say that, the Earth Shatter will be popped on both sides. Singularity still potentially coming out on top, and so far it's a 1-for-1.
Even if they lose this fight, they'll have enough time to rally back before the full cap happens on point B, and they're still just taking time away in the meantime, evening things out at the very least. Finally, Bird Boys seem like they're going to be able to take this, but the longer this goes on, the worse off they are, because everybody else is going to be coming off from respawn. They're going to be able to, you know, again, regroup, come back around, and have another chance to slow down this this timer a little bit, get it closer to that 21 seconds that we see Singularity with right now.
And look at that, already 5 ultimates stacked up for the defense here on the second objective. Nerf should have that Earth Shatter soon enough, especially with the Graviton catching so many members. Self-destruct is there, gets 1 kill as 1-7 wasn't quite crowd controlled, but it seems like it didn't even matter, as kills are still all favoring the blue hand side of Singularity.
Guess where they're going to go next, too. I'll give you one guess. Venanra is now going to be taken down very late into this one. They're going to follow him all the way to the spawn. They find the kill. Now they're just going to sit in the archway. They know they have an advantage with numbers. They're going to pull back, though. They know that, you know, if they give them a little bit of space, they can go ahead and, you know, maybe kind of wrap around a little bit, catch them off guard. However, look at this, 6 ults stacked up for Bird Boys. They didn't want to use anything in that last fight. Now everything is available. It has to be used here. It has to be used effectively here at that.
And we'll see 25 seconds now left on the clock. We will engage with the sound barrier, looking to do something, but the Earth Shatter coming out of Nerf sets 3 of them down. And with Adi out of the picture, the Graviton isn't there. And this should be Singularity coming out on top. 9 seconds, nobody near the objective. Just Watt7 trying desperately to get there. Will not make it in time. And Singularity with superior ult usage and team fights there get the victory in the end.
Heroic stuff from Nerfed as well on their last take and on their last defense. Kind of saving the day. They were able to shut down that attack that should have worked. And Bird Boys are certainly going to have to go to the drawing board on that one. They're going to have to go back, sit down and be like, how did that happen? How did we have 6 ults stacked up? We had, you know, the opportunity to push in. It was our last push, sure, but 6 ults stacked up and you don't take that fight. That's incredible to see how Nerf was able to help shut that down with the rest of his squad.
Hey, it's the Reinhardt v. Reinhardt, the mind games that we're talking about, right? Managing to find the key picks. As said, it would have been off of something like the Graviton coming out of Adi to really secure the fight for this lineup of Bird Boys, but really well done by Singularity.
Absolutely. Singularity battling back into this one, now taking the lead 2-1 in the series. So match point here as we go on to the next map. And I'm really looking forward to this one because I'm going to harp on it a little bit that the escort is coming back out. Route 66 going to be the next map, guys. Do not go anywhere. We have another great map coming your way.
It is match point for Singularity. Now they're up 2-1 into the series. But what a close one, and what a way to turn it around there on Anubis.
Yeah, I mean, Anubis was insane. It's kind of similar to what we saw in Eichenwald, where one team was ahead and then it was pulled out. Bird Boys managed to get an insane overtime going for themselves and, turn around, and Anubis is an insane defense being displayed by Singularity. And we've been talking about Reinhardt's all day. We even talked about him a lot yesterday, but highlighting it again, I mean, we saw Nerfed having the performance of his life so far in this series. I don't think we've ever seen Nerfed having this much impact, certainly enabled to it, but also, meta-centric. And I think he's just playing really well right now.
Most definitely. And again, it is going to be Route 66 coming up next. And while, okay, this is a map we haven't seen in the third season as of yet, considering the two teams in question, I still hope to see something like a Hanzo thrown in, something like a Widowmaker once again, potentially. But do they really need it?
I mean, so far there's been opportunities, but they haven't really been taken that much because, again, both teams just feel really confident and really comfortable with this specific 3-0-3 brawl style composition. They like to just go at each other's throats, get right into the thick of things as soon as they possibly can and just brawl it out. That's exactly what we've seen so far. And it's interesting to see this happening so early on because now we'll see the tournament develop depending on whoever wins this is going to have to go on and, take on teams knowing that everybody's expecting the brawl no matter what, and how that's going to fare against, what might come to see, counters or just other things like seeing, a double sniper or something like that CIS Hope has already shown that it's kind of a struggle to deal with for some teams.
And that's another thing. Even though, yes, we might see compositions like the double sniper come into play, maybe a Fair alongside of that Hanzo or Widowmaker, it's still arguably harder to execute, right, versus this type of comp.
Yeah, definitely a little bit tougher, a little bit more difficult, but Bird Boy is on the attack to start things off. Binanra here on the Diva as we see them approaching an aggressive start for Singularity.
And that's what you want to deal with these brawling compositions, just waste as much time, top of the point as possible, look for an early pick off of a charge or something similar, but the boop did go through. Nerf off the cliff will be taken out. Binanra with that first blood, and off of it, it will eventually be Bird Boys getting this first teamfight win.
I mean, if he went any further off the map, we might have seen him kind of arriving in Croatia all the way from America. He was flying off the map. What's Seven going to deliver a couple of kills at the end there? And they will come away with a lot of ult charge to boot. Ready to go for the next fight. Certainly at an advantage right now. And if they can set up in a decent position, which they can't just yet, they're not setting up quite yet as they're waiting to get into those positions, but they can take advantage of this. We'll see Nerf coming down, and oh, he's in a dangerous spot.
As it will be the first one to go down. Adi now potentially gonna go ahead and use that Graviton. Doesn't even need it just yet. It was only the rally alongside the Coalescence being used for this side of Birb Boys, as they will get all the kills in the end and get that payload that much closer to that objective.
But they're stacking up ults themselves, and they'll have another opportunity to get in there. Mono is going to have to boost them up so they can actually get into position to take this next fight. And Adi sneaking his way. He's right underneath. He might catch them in this. I don't even know if they're going to get onto the point.
We'll see if that is going to be the case. And so far, he's not pulling the trigger just yet. The Graviton was used by Obling instead, and that might just be enough. As a result, 2 kills already going down. Big Dad a third, and finally, Singularity stabilized.
Coming away from that one, they have both of their tank ults. Going for some control in this next one to set things up. Addy and What 7, they have the sound barrier to boot. They might be able to pull this one out here unless, again, we see Nerfed answering with a huge shatter. He's done it time and time again. He's setting up in a decent position to be able to get behind What 7 or possibly force him, into a spot he doesn't want to be in. But they actually just naturally go that way already, so Nerfed is no longer in that decent spot that he was in before.
And we'll see if that will be enough of a problem, especially with Fall. Just displacing the opposition quite away, or rather What 7 quite away, but Sound Barrier was used, Gravitons on top, and it is going to be Obling, the first one to go down. And it does seem like, especially with that Sound Barrier at the end, Bird Boys will be getting the kills and that first objective.
Nerf not able to get it done this time, but it's hard. It's a hard ask for anyone to be able to get something like that with the firepower that Bird Boys brought to that fight. Now they're going to be the ones on the aggressive as they're going to go forward, I believe Mitcher back on the point, and he will go ahead and make sure that they're pushing this one along as Vaneless will secure the healing. And it's going to be another brawl as Bird Boys take this one pretty easily, and again set down by What7, but 3 ults used in that fight in order to get Addy up to 70%.
And at the very least, they will manage to cover quite a bit of distance, but considering how far forward the defensive side will be looking to position themselves, Singularity having that rally up and ready to go, will look to set up someone like Nerf to finally have a bigger impact with something like an Earth Shatter.
Nerf right now coming around the side. They do get spotted by the Zarya. Addy position kind of aggressively trying to make sure that he generates some charge for himself, not just the energy to get the damage out, but also for the ult to come online. He's at 93%. Nerf is taken down pretty low. He has to keep his shield up now. He's getting turned all the way back around. Graviton's ready, but they shouldn't even need it, as they did already take the Reinhardt out of the fight.
But they will go ahead and use it just to secure the fight, and the counter grab will be used as well. And it seems like it's a 1-for-1 overall in the team fight in terms of the trades. And now, especially with the rally going through on the offensive side, What7 coming in even with an Earth Shatter kill onto Lin does mean that eventually it will see Bird Boys secure the team fight and potentially that second point too.
They should be able to get there. I mean, Mono's coming back up. He might be able to get them there quickly, but they have to have someone get on the point if they want to contest this, and I'm not sure if that's the play. I'm not sure if that's what they want to do. However, it seems as though it's not. So they will set up, they will get into position to go ahead and take this fight at the opening to this final stage. They're going to come down from this high ground, and we'll have to see if Nerf is going to be able to find some value with his ultimate. That Earth Shatter looking for bodies, and it's going to get blocked mostly.
And as a result, it's still going to be Bird Boys coming out on top, committing the sound barrier at that as well. 2 kills already going through for them. Make that a third, and with all those bodies lining up from the side of Singularity, it's going to be Adi with a lot of charge already with another Graviton.
And another pro about not just this composition, but this style of play. We saw it, way back in the day with Selfless as well, this hyper-aggressive type defensive style, even on offense, whether they run it as well. But is you're taking time off the clock. Even though you're not winning these fights, you're taking so much time away from the opposition. Nerf getting into position. They're waiting things out. What7 already at the projected barrier go. And we see the Graviton ready. Addy holding onto his as well. Who's going to throw it down first? Addy going to be the first one to drop it. They need to find the kills. And we also see, a knockdown. Look at that, Benanra. He's going to collect 6 eventually. And that last one just coming a little later because they had to wait for that DMEC.
Some flashy plays coming out of the Bird Boys, definitely looking to equalize the series 2-2 after what looked like potentially a blunder on Anubis. Now going to be looking for this potential last team fight on their offensive side as the Graviton will go through. Molfig answering with 2 kills of his own. Fall returning as well, another kill, and it will see Singularity eventually stabilize right before that final point.
And what I would love to see here is just a classic nerfed, little stealthy kind of setup to get that Earth Shatter, take even more time away, especially when, What7 isn't anywhere close to having his Earth Shatter yet. Don't allow him to have the opportunity to generate another one of those. So they're going to kind of come around. They're going to take this high ground. They already kind of gave away their position a little bit by throwing out that Fire Strike, but they are spotted. Nerfed holding it out at the moment. Vaneless does have his ultimate as well, as they're going to come around this corner, and this is going to be it. 60 seconds was just called.
And as a result, they need to make it happen. On the ground, Nerf lays them down, and as a result, Adi is out of the fight. Fall will claim another himself, and with it, it will be a lot more time off the clock here for the offensive side of Bird Boys, as we will see Singularity set up right next to their spawn.
Oh, another late kill. Vaneless got caught there. Wolf saying hi, or rather bye, I would have to say, as Vaneless went down. But 26 seconds remain here at Brunch. Ball ready to go with the rally. They also have Sound Barrier coming up, and the other support ult is ready to go as well.
Bombs away with the self-destructs. It's going to be Benanra already with that first kill, potentially opening things up here for the rest of his team as Nerf did get stunned off. Mitcher securing that kill, and they need to get to that payload as soon as possible. 4 seconds left. They're going to try and speed boost their way in, and with the sound barrier committed on top of it, they need to keep this momentum rolling.
Bois does have his Earth Shatter coming around the corner, looking for the opportunity. They get the stun initially, but the Graviton comes down anyways.
And with Watts and the rest of his team dropping so low, they managed to stay alive. The Earth Shatter was used to counter grab from the offensive side. This time around, still not securing anything in terms of those kills. Obling, though, finds that Reinhardt in Watts 7 in the very end.
Fall gonna go forward. He's just swinging away. Has that rally going. Lots of healing going out on both sides. Again, just brawling it out, but Nerf was able to take a couple out before falling himself. And look at this. Massey, a little bit aggressively positioned away from the rest of his team, wasn't able to get healing. And there's a second grab coming in for the defense. Singularity looking to clean things up. They will find another set of kills, and it's just one more body left to deal with as What 7 is thrust off of it. Round 1 complete. Birb, I don't believe, made it there. So only 2 points. Singularity make the stop.
And at this point, they're looking poised to potentially close out the series. Looking forward now, it will be on the offensive side. It will be once again, most likely, looking like a similar composition as in 3-0-3. The standard for this matchup and the series, and potentially looking forward in terms of the tournament overall. Things to come. This will be the comp to beat. But right now, with Birb Boys swapping over to the defense themselves, I'm looking to watch them set up potentially far forward. If they think they can get cheeky again, they could go all the way at the cart.
I mean, that's the way to play on a map like this when, you know, every path is so long. Every stage of this map is just so much time. You have time to set back up if you lose a fight. And if you can take these long brawls, it's going to favor you in the long run because you're just, again, just stealing time away. So knowing both teams like to brawl it out, knowing these fights can take quite a long time if ultimates aren't just being smashed away by, you know, one side, that obviously does favor the defense in a lot of these cases. So I think, yes, they're going to set up. They're going to make sure that they're coming around that corner. As soon as they see that payload have someone on it, they're going to be flying out of this cave and jumping on top of it as soon as possible.
It's not going to be anything too risky for the side of Birb Boys, playing pretty safe in terms of their positioning overall, all things considered. Of course, Fall already on that Hanzo to make sure he scouts out any aggressive positioning, just to be sure. We'll be eventually swapping out, most likely.
So they're going to come over. You see them on the payload, and shortly you will see them waterfalling out from the high ground, engaging already as they're looking to brawl once again. Healing coming out from Lin in a big way as they're just clashing on the payload.
And no kills claimed on either side as of yet. Ball dropping pretty low. However, will manage to stay alive for now as Watt 7 already has the Air Shatter bestowed on Nerf. Who's going to prop it down first? Nerf is going to be the one to get that through, especially to secure the first blood. And as a result, Singularity will be able to push that payload further.
He just got the upper hand that time around, and they're going to start moving this payload. However, just like we talked about, defense going to have enough time to set back up. Mitcher can get them back into position. They can come up off the high ground now. It's going to be up to the offense here. Singularity want to set up so that they can answer them. Ideally, get in the caves if you can get there, but it doesn't seem like they're going to make it. They get spotted out, and they're going to be met on this high ground charge coming out. Lind gets sucked into that shoulder.
But a lot of people got into that Graviton, and as a result, Adi does go down. The D-suit went through as well, so this might still be looking good for Team Singularity as they will continue to push through. The Air Shatter, though, coming out of Watt 7, the sound barrier to make sure they do secure the team fight turnaround and stabilize on the point as well.
Being able to re-engage like that is so huge in these situations. Mono looks like he's going to get back to his team. A little bit of help from his speed and his own healing as well, but Nerf coming back into this fight. I mean, Singularity as a whole coming back into this fight with a distinct advantage. Sound barrier, you see the coalescence, you see the Earth Shatter, and knowing it's a nerfed Earth Shatter at that. I mean, both of these Reinhardts have been so strong, landing these in the thick of things, finding a lot of value with that particular ultimate.
But if Adi manages to stay alive and get a bit of charge rolling, he should have that Graviton available, whereas his opponent will be far away from it. But Watt 7, or rather Birb, landing a pretty big Earth Shatter, will secure a double kill alongside Mono, claiming another one to Massey, and that is indeed what they needed. Just like you said, it seems to be the Earth Shatter to watch out for, Nerf's Earth Shatter. And now with that first point on the board, they'll be looking forward with 4 minutes left on the clock.
These fights, I mean, they are draining. These brawls that come out, seeing who's going to find the most value out of their ultimates, trying to see the timing, you know, the coordination of managing everything together, the communications that have to be involved, you know, have to be at a high level in order for them to be able to have these plans come together in these high-intensity situations. They're going to come around the corner. Addy already dropping the Graviton, collects a lot of them inside of it. Earthshatter ready for Watt 7, but he won't need it.
As they will already have 2 kills on the board, make that a third. And with no one left to contest, it will be the rest of Singularity forced back towards the respawn. Only Mono scouting phase ahead, just a little bit. Will manage to stay safe, dance around for now.
Toying with them a little bit.
At the very least, he's gonna collect valuable intel for his team.
He's gonna make sure that they're just staying there, and we see the Graviton ready for Obling, looking for an opportunity to throw it into the payload, throws it down, catches them. Watt 7 gonna try to turn it back around with that Earthshatter, won't find much with it. Earthshatter now ready for Nerf. He can put it down, he does, but he doesn't find much with it either. The D.Va kind of wrapped around him. He's taking a lot of pressure, but there's the healing, there's the projected barrier. He's safe for now. They should be able to keep this one going. Singularity in time should take this fight.
But still, the stall coming out of the side of Birb Boys is really good. They still have a lot of distance to cover when it comes to reaching that second objective. And with 2 minutes and 28 seconds left on the clock, we might just see Birb Boys still stall it long enough that they will be looking to get it in overtime.
I'm curious about Nerfed here. I mean, look at where he's kind of stationed. Just gets that fire strike. Now he's dangerously close to having his Earth Shatter, falls back, dodges the charge. They're all on the high ground still, but they're going to come down, and he has the advantage of the Earth Shatter. He lays it down, not catching anyone, though.
It did caught 2, I believe, but with that kill onto Adi, no, Graviton will be nowhere near inside, actually, for Birb Boys on the defensive side. Paul even committing that rally to secure this team fight and potentially that second objective as soon as possible. And Nerf alongside Mono now, claiming a few extra kills to make that a double for the Bloodthirsty support on Mono. Will mean that they should have the second objective in quite a good time at that.
And Graviton coming away from it too, and obviously Bird Boy's not going to have an opportunity to engage that before that second point is taken. And remember, 3 minutes on this clock, they could end it here. Bird Boys did not finish the attack. They did not get that third objective, so huge opportunity. Remember, match point for Singularity.
And of course, this wouldn't be over for Birb Boys just yet. It is a double elimination format, but we might just be getting ahead of ourselves. We'll see if that is the case. As the Graviton will be popped. Soundbarrier is the answer.
Oh!
The shield was denied. Coming from up top, will secure another teamfight victory here for the boys from Singularity. And with that payload getting also close to that final objective, they will still have the sound barrier to work with.
A lot of support ults coming online as well. That's going to be very important against Watt 7 and Addy. We're going to both have their options available for them. And there's the Earthshatter, lays a couple down, charge comes through, finds Fall.
And with that kill, it could be a huge pick, considering the fact that the rally's not an option anymore for the offensive side. Watt 7 claiming a triple kill for himself will mean that the rest of the offensive side will be pushed back towards their spawn. More stalling will commence, and the big thing is they have 1 minute 40 seconds left, and with the help of Adi on that Zarya with the Graviton available, they can definitely make that happen.
Oh, and he's just waiting this one out too. He drops it, but he's only going to get Molf here. They're going to get aggressive, try to take him out, but Nerf comes through, saves the day for now. They're still finding kills. Bird Boys should be able to win this fight again, but right next to that respawn, and Nerf and Obling held on to everything.
Well, the interesting thing was they did commit both the sound barrier as well as the rally in that fight. Singularity, that is, and no real advantage gained off of it. Now, finally, the boys from Bird Boys back off just ever so slightly. The Earth Shatter was completely blocked. I believe only Venara taking that one to the mech. We'll see Coalescence now being popped by Lin.
Oh, Graviton just came up from Obling. They catch the Graviton out. Banana taken down pretty low, and Molf's still gonna find kills. A big one onto what, 7? They don't really have anything to follow up with. Fall is dead, holding on to that rally pretty soon as he's gonna come back and need to get back pretty quick. And Mitcher should be able to stall things out a little bit with that sound barrier. Should his team be able to catch up, but he's kind of caught behind. I think he's gonna be dead.
I think he's not gonna use it. That would be the smarter thing to do. Just look for that reset, look for that regroup rather, because they have 24 seconds on the clock. If they do this correctly, if they time this correctly, they have a really good shot at potentially holding through. But on the other side, still having sound barrier themselves, still having rally, still gonna be potentially good for Singularity too.
Oh, you gotta watch Nerfed here. He threw out the Earth Shatter, didn't find anything but Venandra! That's a massive self-destruct.
And even now, the Graviton is gonna come through. Birb Boys looking to bring us to a map 5. Overtime is gonna time out. Team kill as well. And it's a 2-2 matches, or rather series, going the distance here, X.
And we'll move into Lijiang Tower, but looking back at that map, again, back and forth, brawl to brawl. These divas were insane. The self-destructs really set the tone in a lot of these fights. We saw Molf popping off, but you get Banandra here on the play of the game, setting it up. That was that 6K. I mean, it's basically a 6K when you demech the diva like that too.
That's viral. Just give it to him.
Just give it to him.
Just give it to him. But this will bring us to our final map of the series and the night at that. It's been an absolutely amazing day of Overwatch,
Absolutely.
I'd say. So close, so intense, and we will be right back with said last map. Lijiang will decide it all here in this matchup between Singularity and Birb Boys. Another series that goes the distance, has been absolutely insane to watch. So close. So close.
I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of, I mean, look, we're going to see more of the same, but I'm looking forward to seeing something a little bit different. I would love to see, you know, maybe a little bit of fair play. I would love to see maybe a little bit of Hanzo, something a little bit different, because these teams have been clashing in the brawl time and time again. We already know that it's, you know, so competitive when they do that. But I want to see some other dynamics because, again, as we move forward, whoever wins this is going to have to take on some teams that might have some tricks up their sleeve.
And it's just going to display which team can really adapt better and have more flexibility in terms of their roster and hero pool. But it seems like we are good to go, and it will be the deciding map between Singularity and Birb Boys.
Jumping right into the action here. Control point unlocks in about 20 seconds, but these teams will brawl it out anyways in the meantime to determine who will take it. And already we're right into it. Bananra right into the backline. Fall's going to be taken out immediately. Massey almost fell as well, but for the meantime, he is going to be safe. Birb Boys seem to have the upper hand now.
And it is going to be, as said, the same compositions once again. Having that early advantage will mean everything, basically. Birb Boys getting that first point cap, building up an ult advantage at that ever so slightly. Will still be a constant back and forth.
They're going to work their way over to White Room, come in at a different angle, but that's still going to be a very difficult place to come in at. They're speed boosting forward, but now caught by Nerf, who comes around, Earthshatter to come down, and he gets everybody!
Ooh. He got so many for Singularity here. Nerf securing the team fight potentially for his team, especially with Lin coming in with the Coalescence as well, making sure they are safe, healed up, as well as damaging the opposition. And now with this turnaround, with 34% built up for Birb Boys, Singularity are going to grab a hold of this objective.
And coming away as well with the Graviton. That's massive in this one because they're going to be able to potentially hold on to this one and not only equalize, but come away a little bit ahead into the third fight, should everything go according to plan for them. And look at this, he's sneaking around the side, but they catch him this time. He's going to instead go right up main, throws it into the wall, catches them all.
And we'll see the self-destruct being popped. The Sound Barrier was there, but no kill secured. As I say that at the very least, the DC was there. Mono, Kasiki, Lucio with the boobs in action, and with these kills coming through for Singularity, it's going to be a double boop to secure the team fight. But Naba Mitcher claims one of his own. Why not on that Lucio? And will be Birb Boys resetting, looking to get that point as soon as possible. Looking forward.
Natty threw out that Graviton Surge in that last fight, so they're going to be really kind of suffering from that a little bit moving into this next fight. Banana is going to set them up a little bit as Mono falls off as a Lucio. Oh no!
Not like this, as this will mean it's a 6v5 in favor of Birb Boys now, looking to turn it around. As said, maybe Singularity is gonna just go ahead, lick their wounds, say, okay, let's stall it out as long as possible, make sure we will have that percentage built up. And as high as it can really get.
I mean, they're going to want to hold on to everything here, obviously just clean it up, but they don't want to have too much time taken away, and they still had Fall in the background. We see even Mono coming back in. They're just contesting for as long as possible, and then another body EC just flying in. That's going to be nerfed. So they get themselves up to about 87%. Make that 87% exactly before finally giving it up and coming away with so much in tow, nerfed at 95%. Obling having that Graviton. Let's see if he can sneak one out again.
At this point, going with the same approach to grab the objective. Singularity might be looking to have a better time with that grab. We'll pick up 3, looking for more, but no kills secured just yet. Just bouncing up and down. Sound Barrier was popped. The Earthshatter, though, will lay 2 or 3 of them flat there. And now, coming in with the Coalescence, they are looking to get that point.
Wolf on the point right now, has self-destruct ready, could ward them off and push them onto one side as it comes up. The Graviton goes down, and they don't secure any kills off of it just yet, but they're hanging on at the moment. It's 80% on the board for Birb Boys as Nerf is coming back in, allowing the rest of his team behind him to push forward onto the point. Molf finds Massey. They're cleaning things up. They might be able to turn this out.
and they need to because it's at 89% right now for Birb Boys. It's going to be a really close one, and the victor here might be winning this first round of Lijiang, as it's just at this point Binanra dancing around that middle pillar, and with him going down, Nerf claiming that kill. Even though it's overtime, they should be looking favored to close this one out.
Oh, the Doomfist swap from Vaneless. They're going to be playing with double support, not having a ton of healing, and he's going to go right in, look for something, but not going to find too much, and he's going to go down, so advantage now for Singularity.
And with the Earth Shatter, no, I thought it was blocked. It wasn't blocked, but the follow-up isn't quite there. The Graviton is available for Obling, and as a result, the kills are still favoring Singularity, looking to, as said, get this first round on the board.
Hashtag unlucky. They're still going to go in. Vaneless going to try to turn things back around, but maybe that Doomfist swap was a little too soon, buddy. Who knows? And now we will see Singularity taking that first round of the final and 5th map. Surprising to see what 7 got away right before that fight to even get them into that position where they could take it, but losing it out. And now we'll go into the next round here and onto Control Center. This is going to be a good one, and I don't expect any comp swaps for this. I just don't expect it.
Where we could have argued that, okay, on 9 market, we could see a value in a Pharah pick, Hanzo, anything else. This is definitely the one place in Lijiang you want to see this brawl really go through.
And occasionally, you know, even in the past, we saw a lot of Junkrat here. I wouldn't play that here. You know, you're going to be feeding, a Zarya, you're going to be feeding a Moira, you're going to be feeding a Lucio, you're going to be feeding every single person on that other side, other than the shield of the Reinhardt. That's the only thing you're really going to be able to pull off. It's going to be so hard for you to get anything going if you do pick that. So, as we said, not expecting any changes. We're not going to get any, but we are going to get a pause real quick as we wait to commence this could be the last round of the last map today between Singularity and Birb Boys. This has been a ride today.
And remember, the winner between these two teams will go on to face Snakes in that lower bracket semifinal. Of course, we do have the lower bracket from the loser's side that will go through, and you definitely don't want to face CIS Hope if you're either of these teams, but that's looking like it might be happening eventually, as we'll see soon enough. Round continue, and if we would have seen a no Junkrat on Control because of that, those ultimates just being fed for the Zarya, for the likes of the Moira. Is there any value in something a little off meta, like we've seen a little bit of Mei?
It's possible. I mean, if you can get some good isolation out of it, if you can get in there with your Lucio and get some value out of those walls, you know, we did see a change come through with Mei. You're going to be able to get a lot of freezing done because of it, the AoE change, but it's going to be a tough call. I don't think any teams are confident enough to pull that out.
And with that charge, it's going to be right now Birb Boys securing that first kill to start things off on Control Center. Already up in a favorable position. Fall is out as well. Watt7 claiming another one with that charge. And Birb Boys get that first point cap again, but we've seen how lethal Singularity can be and how fast and hard they can really strike back.
I mean, they're so good at getting the retake and holding on, making sure that they carry that momentum throughout a match. And in a control map like this, that's everything. And he's going to go in and head and engage Nerf right through the doorway with a charge.
And Obling already good to go with the Graviton, will look to use it straight away, but is the follow-up there? Not quite yet. Binanra did go down to 1 kill in favor of the blue hand side, but now with the Earth Shatters going through, Singularity finally gets the potential win.
And we will see Fall helping to cleave this one out. Both of these guys in melee range, Nerfed and Fall, going at it, making sure they get this flip for their team, and they will do just that with 39% on the board for Birb Boys. We mentioned it just a moment ago, how good Singularity is at maintaining the security of the point. And look at this swap. It's the Junkrat that we talked about.
We'll see whether or not it will pay dividends or will be the thing that will save Birb Boys right now, because they need to win this round. At this point, we'll see the charge go for the Earth Shatter on both sides, but they did go ahead and use that sound barrier. The cast did win off, and as a result, Singularity still come out on top.
Yeah, Massey is going to be able to get a lot of ult charge in these fights. It's just going to be about whether or not he can be lethal in these engagements. And he's going to say, you know what, this isn't working out. I'm going to swap back. I'm going back over to the Brigitte. Give up a little bit of ult charge in the process by making that swap, but nonetheless, they're going to re-engage. Now advantage over to Singularity. They're ahead of the scoreline.
And we'll see them still keep a hold of this objective for now as Watev is dropping extremely low. Will be the first one to go down, and with that coalescence, they're gonna get pushed back quite towards their spawn. And the big problem for them is the fact that in the meantime, Obling building up that Graviton nerf has that Earth Shatter, and it's gonna be so tough for them to force anything out of Singularity.
Coming back into this fight, I mean, they're just going the same direction every time, trying to beat them, and they're just going right through. Oh, that was such a good stun to set that up!
So beautifully coordinated with Fall alongside Nerf, as we will see the CCs go through, but Vainless still gets one kill. Graviton on both sides, self-destruct to boot. It's a 1-for-1 still. Nobody else going down, but as I said, Avinandra finally gets another onto Lin, and without that extra staying power from the AoE heal, it will eventually go in favor of Birb Bois, but already 94%, potentially 99% for Singularity.
Obling still falling back. He's going to have a little bit of help from the Lucio to make sure that he gets out of there, but he came away with a lot of ult charge off of the back of that fight as he was sitting up above 90 energy the entire time, and coming back into this one, Coalescence at the ready for Lind. Vainless pretty close. He should have it in this fight. So they'll have to look to try to shut down What7 as soon as possible. Stun comes out again.
Can he secure the kill? So far it's a 2-0. The returner Shatter grabbing 2, but the Graviton was there, and this could very well be a Singularity. Might claim the point and the win right here, right now. Sound barrier popped late, but it does not matter. 99% already on the point. Overtime kicking through. We do see the Lucio come back in the nick of time, but it's just Mitcher, nobody else just yet. And as a result, it is Singularity that's coming out on top.
I mean, every time we see Singularity start to get a foothold, they are able to hold on to it so well, and we see them able to make those retakes work in their favor. I mean, that's exactly why they were able to take both control maps. Every time they did lose it, they were very quick and very efficient about the way that they got control back away from Birb Bois. So I'd like to see that a lot more going forward. We know how, you know, impactful